Hey gamers, what's up? Uh, it's been a little while. Um, it's been, I think, about a year, over a year, since my last stream, but I'm going to try to come back, make a return. I don't know if anybody will return from those days or if we'll just have to start over. Either way is cool. Um, Let me quickly do an audio test. Okay, sounds good. Um, last time I was doing my stream, I was working on this game. It was like a Pico 8 game. It was called Castle Game at the time. Still doesn't have a final title. I actually did work on that a little bit more after I stopped streaming. And there's a version 0.2 on my itch page if you guys want to go check it out. It has music and it has a boss fight, and it actually tells you when you get to the end of the playable area, so you're not just jumping around and wondering what to do next. So that's a pretty big improvement, although the game still has a lot that I want to add to it before I would consider it finished. And yeah, I recognize that on the itch page, I said that, like, I gave a timeline for when I thought it would be done. I said, like, oh yeah, I think I'll have version 0.2 out within like the next 2 or 3 weeks. I think something like that. Um, I ended up getting it out like a year later, almost a year later. And then my idea of when I would get version 1.0 out, that was supposed to be, I think, like 2 months, I think I said. And that is not done yet. And I am not even working on that project currently. Well, I was working on it pretty recently, but I'm taking a break from that because I have a different main project that I'm working on now. It's in Unity this time, and I'm going to quickly show what I have so far. Um, it's not like super impressive. All the art is temporary. I'm going to work on iterating basically every single aspect of it, but I will show you what it looks like currently. All right, so my camera is flipped. I'm now in. You're hopefully seeing Unity now. Yeah, you are. So let's go into play mode. um, and yeah, so it's basically, as you can kind of maybe tell if you're familiar with it, it's kind of a clone of Nintendo's Pikmin franchise. You have like these little followers. These are little ant creatures. They're not Pikmin. And I made my own little astronaut character. It's kind of like a... Hold on, what's my stream called? It's still called Working on Pico 8 Castlevania Clone. Whoops. I just realized I forgot to name my stream. Okay, I'll finish showing you this and then I'll rename the stream. So yeah, so there's a couple different camera angles you can switch between, zoom in and out, get the ants to follow you. I've been playing around with getting the ants, like getting a bunch of ants in a scene at once. In real Pikmin, there's a limit of having 100 Pikmin, as you may know, in the scene in any part of the game at once. And I've been playing around, and it seems like performance-wise, there's no reason for me to have such a restriction. Maybe like I probably have like up to like 200 plus Pikmin. Well, they're not Pikmin, little ants. I call them ants. As for like what works for gameplay, I'd have to test that out. It's possible the 100 Pikmin limit is there because just to prevent there from being way too many things to worry about at once. I could also see that being the case. Anyway, I'll quickly show like the kind of behaviors I have implemented in the game so far. You can throw your ants. It shows like a little throw arc, and then they're in like an idle state right now, and you can whistle them back with the right click, left click to throw, right click, whistle back. I'm using my mouse to move the cursor, WASD to move the character. I can also set all my followers to idle with the F key. Call them back. As for what they can actually interact with, you can go up to this wall here. This texture is temporary. You can throw them at the wall, and these cracks will slowly start to fade in the wall before the whole wall is destroyed like that. Yep, so they can destroy the wall. The wall is like an HP that's hidden. And then they have this. There's this object here. You can throw the followers onto it, and you can see this little fraction showing how many are needed to carry it. When you get 6 on, they're carrying it, and they're carrying it to a specific location that I marked. But there's pathfinding on this and everything, so they're going to go around this. They're going to turn here. And if you throw more than 6, they speed up. You can throw up to 12. I have it set both the minimum number, or is it 10? Okay, for some reason it's not accepting anymore right now. Maybe slightly broken, but yeah, so they're carrying it up. They're carrying it to this location here. Pretty cool. There's no real reason to. There's no real like objective in this little test gameplay room. But I'm just showing off like some of the mechanics that I have implemented. All right, next thing is I have this egg here. I was thinking about how I was going to implement the followers, the ants being thrown onto an object and attacking it. So pretty much I have it working pretty well here. You throw them on, and they face the object. They don't have like proper animations yet, obviously. The bar is very slowly decreasing because this egg has a lot of health. If you throw them on the ground near it, they move towards it and attack. There's now 5 damage per second being taken because each one does 1. If I call them back, they pause. This health bar doesn't go away. I need to decide exactly on what behavior I want, when to show and hide that. Yeah, but yeah, you can see I can get a bunch of ants attacking it at once, and then once it dies, I need to do something with that, but right now it just disappears and they all go back to being idle and you can call them back. This cursor is really broken. That's something I was going to do on stream today. Fix that a little bit because it can get stuck like really far away, and then it's very, very weird. You can move it like way outside the map. So that's one thing I'll need to go into, but yeah, that's pretty much all the stuff I have so far in the game. One last thing is I'm gonna quickly talk about, this is the same kind of box as before. You can see that the object tilts when it's going down. Okay, it spazzed out a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I freaked out a little bit there, but typically the object is aligned to the normal of the surface being carried on. So you can throw a bunch of followers on and they'll carry it and it'll adapt and look like the followers carrying will pretty much be based on the floor and the object will rotate. So that's pretty cool. I'm happy. That actually took me a long time to get working. That took me about 2 days. Yep. I have a Trello board. I'm not going to show it right now of features I want to add, but I'm a really big fan of Pikmin. So the original idea was just create like my version of Pikmin that has like some more complex interactions. Like Pikmin is kind of an easy game. Even the original Pikmin, which was like the least user-friendly one, there isn't really much challenge to it. So I want to create a game that's like aimed more towards an older audience, requires more strategy, it takes more challenge, and has like more of a like sci-fi aspect to it. Pikmin is sci-fi, but it's I don't know. I'm really into like Star Trek, so I think that there's going to be like a kind of Star Trek storytelling vibe to the story in this game, which I've been writing. I have like a script document I've been working on. Anyway, right now I need to change the name of the stream. How do I do that? Working on Unity Pikmin clone. Okay. That looks good. Okay. So, first thing I have to do today is... Wait, there were 2 things. Okay, there's another issue I'll show you quickly. There's 2 issues I'm going to fix. The first things I have planned before I start working on new features. One issue is that when I throw the ants into this little spot right here to get them to start attacking. You can see some of them get stuck behind others. The ones that are not touching the egg are not doing damage. They're just trying to move into a position where they can do damage, and they're failing to do so. So I need to change that so that they can all move in and all do damage, because otherwise the damage per second is lower than what it should be. So I believe the way I'm going to do that is actually very simple. Let me show my my VS Code window. So there's already a case in this follower movement script here where the ants move into a state where they can move through each other. They're not solid. They don't collide with each other. And the reason that's used is because when many are thrown into one position, the way it used to happen was if you threw like two down and you throw one down and throw another one in the same position, the first one would land on top of the original Pikmin, and you could pretty much create a tower. I keep saying Pikmin. They're not supposed to be Pikmin. Create a tower of ants standing on top of each other's heads, and that was not what I wanted. So I have it so that they kind of there's two layers that they move between for physics collisions. You can see in the follower manager here, okay, so there's a thing called follower, and there's a layer called follower no collide. In code, they switch between these two depending on what specific behavior they're doing. So what I want to do is set follower no collide when they are attacking. And that way new ants can come in and attack in the same position without worrying about colliding. I think later on I'll improve this by adding slightly more complex behavior where the ants will kind of like encircle an object that they're attacking. That probably should be how it actually works. There are some like weird things going on. Like currently the ants, when you throw them at a carryable object, they encircle it and well, they don't encircle it. They instantly move into like a series of positions around the carryable object. They pretty much snap to it, and instead they should probably move into position. So that's something that's probably going to happen down the line because it's a bit of a quality of life thing. Well, it's a presentation thing, but it's not important to getting the main prototype of the game up and running, getting the actual gameplay implemented. So that's taking a little bit of a backseat. As for this issue with ants moving in to attack, okay, so this latch on to is when they start sticking to the egg to attack it. I can add something here like change layer. How do I do it before? Set collide with others false. Set. Oh, I see. This is a function that I wrote. Where is that? Okay. So set collide with others false, and then I just have to and then all I have to, but okay, that's not all I have to do. I also have to find where they are removed from the latch onto state and return them to colliding with others. Okay, so if they're in move towards, where do I call this from? If they're following, then they will collide. If they're, okay, let's just try this out because I think I already set the state back and forth for when their state is changing. I put them back to colliding when they return to like specific set of states. Okay, if I throw them all into exactly the same position, they should start colliding. Yeah, they're still doing it. Why are they colliding? Okay. So move towards is the state that they're in when they are getting into position to attack. and attacking is when they are already, well, it's called working, and they have like an attention target when they are actually attacking. So let's find that. I am setting collide with others on the ones that are working. I wonder if that's being overwritten by something. In follower state, maybe. Set collide with others true. Okay, so when they're set to the working state, then this is true. So I have to change this to actually go in, not at this exact point, but when they're actually already in the state they need to be in. Where is, so follower state working, carry moved. Okay, it's in here. This is when they're thrown onto something. Latch onto, okay, but latch onto is called after. Latch onto is called after they're set to work. All right, let me test it and take a look at, and pause the game and take a look at what values it has when it's locked on. Okay, it is on the follower layer. It should not be. It should be follower no collide. Maybe, I don't know what could be causing that. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. I left my my VS Code maximized as I was testing the game. I wonder if I can move things around on my stream a little bit. Move this down. Is that helpful a little bit? You can see a little bit. Well, not really. I think it made more sense where it was. No, I'll just leave it there. Yeah, basically what I was just showing was that, okay, hide this. You throw one into position, I'll throw two. I'll throw one directly on and then one move into position. And then pause, you can see if I select this one and then go to layer, it's still in the follower layer, which it should have been moved to follower no collide. This follower, also follower layer, they should both be moved to the other layer. So, for some reason that's not happening. Set collide with others, true, false. I could change it so that it's the other state. This doesn't explain what the issue is, but I could just instead change it so that when they are in move into position state, they no longer collide. That could work. Hold on. I believe that when they are attacking, their rigid body is set to kinematic. That may be the cause of the problem, because that may just prevent them from actually colliding the way I want, and just they might just become like kind of a solid object. I don't really understand how rigid bodies work. I should put a disclaimer in my chat, in my about, saying I suck at Unity and that I'm not an authority on anything. Anyway, for now I'll just say else if state is moved towards wait a second. Oh, did I did say latch on to after working. Okay, never mind. I thought I realized something, but I didn't. So for move towards, I'm going to say fm.set collide with others false. I'm setting this boolean a lot in this script, but there's reasons for all this behavior. Okay, let's try that out. Okay, I think I know what's happening. I think that in follower movement, it's setting set collide with others false. If not grounded, else. I should just remove this. Well, I'll say if is grounded. So if it's not grounded, then it shouldn't set any kind of acceleration because they just fall to the ground. They can't move horizontally. And let's set collide with others false. I might as well just remove what I just wrote here, since it's doing it every frame anyway. Okay, let's give that a try. All right, it is working. It is working. I can see all the ones on the bottom are moving in. All the damage is going as I want because I've become acquainted with what I expect the rates to be. So that is fixed. That is working currently. There is still, as I mentioned, a minor issue with like a presentation issue with all the followers kind of moving into the exact same position and overlapping. I'm gonna say that's fine for the prototype of this game. If I move into like bigger scale production, that's something I'll address, but right now it's not a very critical thing. Okay, so that's the first thing. I'm gonna check that off on my Trello board. And then I have for cursor control. So the cursor control I wrote very, very early on in this project, probably like a month and a half ago, and I have not looked at it since. So this might be a little bit more difficult because the thing I just fixed was something I've been working on the last few days. Let's go to cursor control. Oh yeah, so I have this habit of rewriting methods over and over, like just making new versions of them, saying implementation 1, implementation 2, implementation 3. And the reason I do that is because I want to try something slightly different. And I don't want to remove what the previous implementation that was working had been doing. And then I just set, like here, I just change the number 1, 2, 3, depending on, like, to compare them. So I have 3, I have 1 and 2 here too. So I can get code back from those two if I find that they work better in some aspects. But the way it works right now, let's find out. So we get mouse input, the axes, mouse X and mouse Y. I have a move scale a float that I multiply the movement by, of the mouse movement, mouse acceleration. Well, I don't think acceleration is the right word. Just scaling the mouse delta up. Pretty much just do that. I'm trying to figure out how this actually worked. So this transform is the transform of the cursor that you move around on screen. Yeah, it pretty much, you can move the X and Z, but it stays on the Y plane, on the same Y plane that the player is on. That way, oh, that's actually something I want to change. Not immediately. That's not the highest priority thing. Um, but the issue with that is that uh, the cursor should instead be projected from above. Um, the way it works currently is if you're on a slope, your player is standing on a slope, and you're looking up the slope, the cursor just goes underneath the ground, and if you're looking down the slope, the cursor moves like above the ground further. This far, like the more you look out, the farther away down the slope you look, the farther off the ground the cursor is, which is not what I want. But that's not what we're fixing right now. That is something in the future. I should probably write that in the Trello. I'll just remember for now. So bring cursor back if it goes off screen. Okay, I think that one of the issues with makes it the controlling so weird is the fact that the moving the mouse up and down and moving it left or right. Okay, moving it left or right is always the same. Moving it up and down is based on the size, the angle of the camera looking like up and down. Actually, moving it left or right is not the same. It's based on how much it's zoomed in, but it's always the same relative to the size of the screen. Unlike the up and down direction moving. So how does that work right now? Camera transform right times mouse input. Camera transform forward. Huh. Wait, actually I might be wrong. I might be wrong about how this works. Because this is normalized. Times mouse input Y times current movement scale. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is set a maximum distance that it can be from the player. And I believe that should be around like twice the distance of the target, the maximum target distance, the target being the position that followers are thrown to, the maximum distance of that you're able to throw followers, which is seen visibly on the screen. Let me show you quickly. You can see this this kind of pinkish red circle is the actual cursor, and this blue purple, light purple target kind of thing is where followers are thrown to. That's the target. So the cursor probably shouldn't move beyond like where I have it now, because moving it really far away is not really that useful. I guess if you want to like call someone that's like over by the base of these trees where I have the cursor right now, even doing that I think wouldn't necessarily be a good idea, because then players who are more comfortable with this camera angle would constantly have to switch to this kind of angle to get things that are far away. It kind of gives you an advantage of having this lower to the ground angle. So probably that's not good. Probably we should have like pretty much the same ability regardless of what your camera angle is. So I'm going to change things a little bit and set it so that the cursor cannot go beyond that point. Cursor max target, bring back cursor if it goes off screen. Oh, interesting. I have two different sections here, this section and this section. Both, like I mentioned, I haven't seen this code in a long time. These two sections are both checking if the cursor goes off screen, but this one is if you try to move it off screen, and this one is if it naturally goes off screen because of the way you're rotating the camera. I wonder if that is the best way to do that. That may not be. This says there's a to-do right here. I wonder if I probably need to make more changes than I thought. Okay. Well, first thing is I am going to say, all right, let me write a comment. If, okay, I can pretty much copy some of these. I remember learning something about Unity, about C#, well, about, this is more about just math, like computer science theory in general. This magnitude function here is actually not very performant at all, because it's, the way it works is it finds it does the square root. It like takes this vector here, squares all the elements of it, and then all the components of it, and then finds the square root of that result. And finding a square root is a very expensive mathematical function for a computer to do. So what's better to do is do a squared magnitude and then square this number also. It's easier to square one number than it is to find the square root of one number, pretty much. So I want to say cursor max dist instead of target. I'm going to go through it and fix. I think I'm actually going to rewrite a lot of this. I might as well make implementation 4. I mean, well, not if implementation 3 has known problems. That's not really worth keeping around. Okay, so let's try to focus on this. Player transform position. This is checking that the in this case, I want to move it to the specific point. This vector. No. What is it called? It is called cursor dist. Quick drink of water. In this case, I want the cursor to go to the position. Hold on. Player point dot position. It should be the opposite of this. It should be, I don't know why it was backwards. Although I believe, yeah, I only take the magnitude and then the normalized version of this, so there, oh. That's very weird. Here I even put like a minus sign in front of that. I don't know why I mixed them up. That's very strange past me writing this script. Anyway, I'll go through and fix it in a second. I'm just going to see if I can get this functional. So square magnitude, if it is bigger, then I want the cursor dist. I want the cursor position. The global position to be player point. What is player point? I'm just quickly checking in the inspector what the actual value player point is referring to. Okay, it just says player transform. So that's what I want. I am going to set that to player position plus cursor dist dot normalized times cursor max dist. Okay, I believe that transform position and player point position should always have the same y value. That may be why I put this to do here, because it actually doesn't, but it is supposed to. Anyway, let's see how this works. I believe if they're not exactly the same, they're close enough that it should function at least. Let me close this. Okay. Oh, okay, well now I cannot move the cursor at all. I know why. It's because I forgot to set the value in inspector. Cursor max dist 2 or 15. Yes, 15. Twice of the target max dist. Okay, and that looks like it pretty much works the way I wanted it to. It still is very weird in the way that it handles when it touches the edge of the screen. You'd expect it kind of to slide along the edge of the screen, but it just gets stuck immediately. I wonder what I can do to make that handle a little bit better. Another thing that's a bit strange that I did on purpose, for some reason, a couple months ago when I was setting this up, is when your cursor is away from your further than your target and you move, your cursor stays in one place. When your cursor and your target are the same, then they follow the player's movement. I believe part of the reason I wrote it like this was to remember that I'm going to implement some kind of lock-on feature, and it's going to work like this, that where the target goes on the locked-on character. But I did make a change to that kind of broke it just now, because now if you move the character, if you hold the cursor in the same position, you move the character away from it, it'll reach the maximum distance and start pulling the cursor, which is not exactly what I had in mind. Okay, I want to do something to improve this handling on the edges of the screen because it kind of gets stuck in an uncomfortable kind of way. I am curious also as to how far the cursor can go from each camera angle, because from what I'm seeing right now, there are no camera angles where you can look towards the camera and move the cursor very far beyond the target. At least, well, this one you can move the farthest, but I don't think it's reaching the maximum distance that it can be from the player. You can see I can like go to either side maximum distance or straight ahead, but not behind me. I think generally that should be fine, because normally you would not position yourself where you're trying to look down at something that you're focusing on. Normally you'd face it and put the camera behind you. Okay. So now for the cursor control at the edges of the screen. What is return speed? A big part of me does just want to create cursor implementation 4 and throw all this code in the garbage and redo it. Okay, it's mostly these two parts here that are bothering me. Everything else I pretty much understand. This part here just places the target at whatever point it should be. if the cursor is further away from what the max distance of the target is. So I'm gonna drink water really quick. Once I'm done with this, with fixing this this cursor a little bit, I'm going to take a break and talk about my plans for this project in terms of scope. Okay, so bring cursor back if it goes off screen. I'm gonna try to comment all this out for now and write a simpler version. Oh wait, no, I accidentally commented out the part that I just wrote. I meant to do this and this one and the one above it instead. Okay. So to check if cursor is off screen, okay, so I get camera world to screen point transform. And then I check if it's 0 or if it's above screen width. Hold on, that's very strange the way I did it there. Okay, so I'll start the same way. I'll get the screen position. Oh. Okay, so if the oh, the way I used to do it was I just moved it back to the position it had been in previously. I definitely do not like that. Let me comment this out too so I can get rid of it. Yeah, I really don't like the way I did this before. So I am going to change it. I'm going to say instead of transform position equals this, I'm going to say transform position equals, I don't know exactly how to find the, I need to find the vector that takes it to the edge of the screen. Maybe like it would be cursor distance times dot normalized because it's the same. I want the same direction, but this needs to be a specific float that takes it to the edge of the screen. So how would I find that? I want to. I can access screen.width. I have to think about this for a second. Move this up. Would there be a way for me to project to do another world, reverse world to screen point, where I'm finding the specific part that escapes from the world bounds? I realize now why I wrote this return speed, even though it's extremely stupid way of doing it. It's because I didn't want to deal with actually having a good system of finding out how far beyond the screen I've gone. I guess I could loop along like a line, like get indexes of a line. Say like one, if I set this value to 1f, check that position world to screen point, and then just do it again until I approach the screen. That would not be the optimal way of doing it, but I think that would work. What would I call this? Scale value to take us to screen edge. That's a good way of phrasing it. It needs to work regardless of what the angle is, like whether it's pointing like up, down, left, right. Let me try with 1f first just to see what that plays like. I know it's not going to be exactly what I want. Oh yeah, so anytime I try to push the cursor outside the screen, it snaps back to being like 1 meter away from me, and the camera like immediately like goes back to where I'm at. That's not what I want. I'm thinking about if I want the old position thing. I definitely don't like it, but it probably was the simplest way of doing this. Okay, what if I find... let me check something. Is it possible to move the target off screen? Yes, it is. Okay. I believe it is not possible to move more than 1 meter to be 1 meter away and still be off screen. Yes, okay. I think I may have a way of doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check where on the screen the world to screen point. I'm going to find another world to screen point of 1 meter. So that's transform position plus cursor dis.normalized. And then maybe I can use that to find an angle. I want to know how close to the edge of the screen I am. So, okay, so I'm going to find the ratio of the screen width, float screen ratio equals 1 meter position minus hold on, this is not what I meant to do. I'm gonna find 0. Okay. I'm gonna find the position that the player is standing on world to screen point and call that not transform position, player point opposition. That's what I was meaning to use this whole time for this one as well. I will find the ratio 1 meter position minus player position. This may be a positive or a negative number, which is what I want. These are vector 3s. Are they not? Oh yeah, it's because I'm trying to find a float. Float, I don't think float is actually what I want. No, this is a problem too. Because now I don't know whether to use screen width or screen height depending on where I'm pushing the... Okay, I'm starting to think I just am going to use my loop idea, even though it's extremely stupid. It really is the best thing I can do, the best thing I can think of. Okay, so float in screen scale equals 1f for oh, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do while, and I'm gonna do float in screen scale equals 1f and I'm not gonna have this normalized. I'm just gonna times it by 1. This position. I'm going to set in screen scale to be 99% of what it is. And then I'm going to keep multiplying it until it is inside the screen. This could be, okay, so this is a while loop. This could be a very stupid way of doing, well, I know it's a very stupid way of doing it, but it could work or it could crash Unity. The reason it could crash Unity is because it is a while loop and it doesn't have very, I may not have set it properly, and yes, it crashed Unity. That's always fun to happen. This says while screen is less greater than or greater than. How did it crash Unity? That doesn't, I know I was just saying it could, but I didn't think it should. I'll have to restart. It shouldn't run at all if the cursor is in the screen, is not outside the screen bounds. Is that not right? Okay, I need to open Task Manager because Unity crashed and it's not closing. Okay. let me quickly restart Unity. I should be less stupid about writing while. I'm gonna write int r equals 100, and then, well, r is greater than 0, and then r minus minus, and then if r okay. That should at least prevent Unity from crashing again, but I don't know if this will work. Okay, Unity did not crash that time. What was happening instead was that I cannot move the cursor. I cannot move the cursor at all. So what happens if I want to debug log this in screen scale. And then I will prevent it for now from actually trying to move when it's off screen. Okay. Oh, did I really screw something up? Because now it is just not working at all. Okay, what if I'll bring back this part I took away. Maybe not. Okay. Sorry, I didn't let you guys see the VS Code there, but all I did was bring back in the old stuff that I commented out. Okay, there's something very wrong. I now cannot move anything. I cannot move the cursor at all. That's not good. I didn't even change it that much. Okay, what if I change R to 1 instead of 100? Nope, still doesn't work. I did do our decrements. Yeah, this is an annoying issue. It really is just like I can't really think of the optimal way to do this. Well, R is greater than 0. This shouldn't be doing anything, should it? Let's see if this still doesn't work. Compiler error. It says look rotation viewing vector is 0 in my, cannot see it. In my console here, I believe that just means that the cursor is at 0, 0, 0, which is not necessarily a problem. What did I do to make it so that it can no longer be controlled at all? Did I? Oh, hold on a second. This may be a classic Unity moment. Yep. So, oh wait, you guys can't see. I accidentally maximized the Unity window. Normally I'm supposed to have it at a specific size so that you guys can see. Sorry about that. Anyway, I changed cursor max dist when I was in gameplay mode. And then I went back to, and then when I exited it, reverted to its original value of 0. Yep, that's just me being an idiot. Okay, just making sure that the entire Unity window is on screen on the stream. Okay. Yeah, that was really dumb. But I do stuff like that all the time. Okay, now let's try this thing that we tried to do. $0.99. Honestly, it doesn't feel that bad even if you are allowed to take it out off the screen. That could be something to keep in mind if I can't figure this out. Even if you are allowed to move it off screen, it still feels okay. And it can't move like super far away because there's now this minimum distance that the cursor can be from the player. So I am going to do this, set R back to being 100, which is what I wanted to test it at. Okay, now this these console values are important because I want to see if they are always the same thing or if they are different things. Okay, it looks like it's always the same thing. And it shouldn't be moving it this far back. Oh, it's because I didn't. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. I should debug log after I am done with the loop, and I should actually be updating the value that I'm checking because otherwise it will always loop the maximum number of times. That was my mistake again. I am making a lot of dumb mistakes. Part of it is probably because I'm streaming for the first time in a long time and I'm a little bit nervous. Okay, so it looks like right now it's always returning to 1. Which is not necessarily, which I don't really understand why it would. Hold on, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Why? I'm printing in screen scale and I'm doing it after it does this, implying that this loop is not running at all? Possibly? In screen scale. But if it's cursor dist, okay, so it's cursor dist times in screen scale. What on earth? I'm gonna do another debug. Oh, you cannot see. Sorry, I keep like hiding and showing this this VS Code window, and it's because I don't have a very good stream setup. It's because I should just have whatever I'm seeing, whatever is maximized should be on stream, but it's not like that. Debug.log. Debug.log looped. So if the loop is indeed running 0 times, like I suspect it is, then this will show us. Oh, the 1 is only happening when, okay. I should make it so that it doesn't. Yeah, I was mistaken looking at this. The 1 is only showing up when okay, so it checks every single frame, and the 1 means that there is no issue. So the actual value it gives is 366037. It looks like it loops 100 times, which it shouldn't. And it shouldn't just move back to one specific value every time either. I don't think that debug.logging in screen scale is actually helping. Oh, yeah. I need to be getting this every loop. Oops. I need to be updating screen position every loop because that's what I'm checking. Okay, it's now doing what I intended for it to do. I'm just going to quickly remove the debug statements. This is the behavior that I was trying to get to this whole time. When I go off screen, I can slide it along the edges first of all, but also when I go off screen, it kind of jitters if I continuously try to move the mouse off screen. You might be able to see, I don't know how well that comes across on stream. I'm thinking about whether that's something I want to fix, because hold on, I wonder, it may be an easy fix. If all it is like a matter of like doing update versus fixed update, then I can just test that out. And if that's not what it is, then it'll take longer to fix. So if it is like a, oh yeah, that feels really bad. That should not be in fixed update. But I should test it out with vsync on and off. Okay, it feels good. Vsync. It should move at the same acceleration regardless of whether I have it on or off. And it pretty much does as far as I can tell. As for the jittering, I am setting the transform every single frame, or not even every single frame, every single loop, which is up to 100 times within a frame. It doesn't run anywhere near 100 times, I don't think. But probably I could just do. I could just do this and then set it after. and then set the value outside of the loop. And I'm going to get rid of this R0 thing because I do not believe that ever happens. The R is just there for preventing Unity from crashing while I'm testing it. Okay, that changed absolutely nothing. Which is not that, which actually makes sense now I think about it. I do think this is a little bit more performant though. Speaking of which, I should probably be monitoring what the actual performance of this is as I'm doing it. Oh. That's, oh, okay. I have VSync on, don't I? I was about to say that's the worst FPS I've ever seen for this project, but it's because I had VSync on and it was locking it to my monitor frame rate, refresh rate. Yeah, okay. The cursor is jittery along the edges. That's kind of okay. I don't really care that much. At least for now. Probably when I get to polishing the game more, I'll take more of a look at fixing that. Oh, hello. Twitch custom graphics. I'm not really like a super serious streamer. I'm just kind of working on something, so I don't know if I'm really interested or not. As for yeah, actually, I know I haven't streamed in like a year, but last time I streamed, my Twitch layout was worse than this. I did not have chat on screen, and I do now, as you can see by this person talking. So, I mean, I don't really know what I could send my portfolio. I don't really have a Discord set up yet. That was kind of something I was planning on working on. Twitch custom graphics. I'm not really sure what that would even entail. Like what kind of things that would even be. I had like I'm not really worried about like emotes or anything like that yet. Anyway, I'm back to talking about the project. Yeah. So okay. So I think I said that the cursor is jittery when it's on when I'm either pressing it into the edge of the screen, or I'm letting it sit at the edge and moving away from it. It is, you can see it jittering. But I am not going to fix that. I'm going to let that be what it is for now, because it does handle like well enough, I think, despite that's something that I'm going to fix later on when I'm polishing the game and improving the presentation of it. For this current stage, I think it would be a bit overkill to make it feel totally perfect. Put as much work in as that would take. Okay. So that is what I've got. Yeah, so that was pretty much everything that I had planned for this stream in terms of actually getting work done. What I wanted to do now was talk about the status of In the Craters in the Moon and on the stream. Well, first of all, the stream is back, hopefully. Last time I streamed, which was over a year ago, I said in the stream that I would start streaming every single Monday, or I ended up by saying, okay, see you next Monday, because I was planning on doing a weekly stream. I only did it for 2 weeks. But yeah, so I'm not going to make any promises right now because it turns out it's kind of hard to commit to something like that. Uh, I'm just going to say that I will hopefully be streaming um, more often. It's not even Monday. I was originally planning on streaming every Monday, but it's a Tuesday today, and I am going to get well, like I mentioned, I don't want to make any promises, but yeah, I do want to work on this project pretty seriously and improve it. And streaming does seem to help me focus on that, so I will hopefully keep streaming, or at the very least, I'll keep working on this project. Um, and I will at some point make an itch page for this. I don't have one yet. Uh, oh, so I was thinking with this project, I'm gonna make like real levels. This is just an example, like test level. I'm going to create uh, a real demo of the game and release that so that people can give me feedback on it. That's the first milestone I'm aiming for. And as I work on it, I am going to hopefully make devlogs on YouTube videos about my progress on working on this game. We'll see how that goes. I should probably get working on the first one now. But the ultimate goal with this project is to have an actual, not a physical release, a real digital release on Steam that is paid, that you can buy. And obviously we have a very long way to go before we get to that point. But that is the ultimate goal in terms of the scope of this project. If you've played Pikmin 1, then you know that there's like 3 large scale areas and then like 2 like smaller areas. I'm planning on having like a similar kind of like gameplay length expectation in terms of like number of levels, amount of content, like gameplay hours. With yeah. So with that, I think that's pretty much it for this stream. I've introduced you all to this project. Oh, very quickly, I want to show off the 3D models I made for this. You've already been seeing them around a little bit, but I'll quickly show. So I've been learning Blender, and I made some little characters and some meshes. You can see this guy. He's like a little astronaut guy. That's pretty cool. That's probably the best model I've made so far. I'm very much an amateur at Blender, but I hopefully will improve as I iterate on a lot of these objects and create more objects and characters. So here's a little ant follower character. They have some nice antennas and little chompers, and they have 6 arms. So I'm not as happy with as the astronaut, although neither of them are final. I'm gonna keep iterating on them, especially this thing. Yeah, this is the like general design, but it's gonna be a lot different hopefully when the game is finally finished. I made this tree over here. This is kind of like a dead tree with no leaves, more like a wintertime tree. It looks okay. I didn't put any smooth shading on it because I tried and it made it look worse. If you zoom over, you can see this egg that I made. I was starting to learn a little bit about the Blender, the shader node system, and the way that you bake textures into a model and then export it for Unity. So that's been good. Yeah, I've gained a lot of Blender knowledge just from working on this project. It's pretty good, pretty cool. Yeah, this is a Unity terrain object. It's my plan. I don't know if this is actually going to work out or not. My plan is to design the levels using the Unity terrain in Unity, but then take that mesh that I create and in Blender UV map it and texture it. Because the way that the texturing works in Unity is it pretty much projects the textures top down. So you can see on all the walls the textures gets very, very stretched. but on the top surface it's like perfect. This texture is hideous, by the way. That's not a good thing to stare at for when as I'm explaining that. But yeah, that's generally the idea. I'm gonna make the terrain and then do another pass in Blender and do the actual coloring and texturing on it. Yeah, that's the idea. I think I've talked pretty much about this everything to do with this project. So I'm gonna end the stream here. Later on I will talk about oh, I have a couple more things that I've done in the past year since I've been absent, but I will talk about that on the next stream to start it off. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.